You open your eyes for the very first time, and congratulations, you're the newest baby born in the Galactic Republic. Not the one you're thinking of though. This is a few thousand years earlier, in a time that will come to be known as the Old Republic. But even though you're just a baby, there's a deep darkness within you, and everyone can feel it. Your mother, your father, the strange looking alien doctor. Something about you is off. You can think about the Republic a lot like the Roman Empire, but in space. They run absolutely everything. They control all trade throughout the galaxy. They've been around for thousands of years, and their military, the Jedi-led Army of Light, are the most powerful force in the galaxy. But you've been born on one of the rim worlds, which means the Republic is pretty unpopular here. Your world is basically one big empty desert where everyone has to scam, cheat, and steal to survive, and the Republic isn't helping. As a child, animals seem to run away from you whenever they get close, and you've got a weird ability to make other children do exactly what you say. Your parents would never say it, but they're scared. By the time you're 12 years old, the powers get stronger. You can now move things with your mind. People in your town start calling you cursed, and your parents look at you differently now. They're not just scared, they're ashamed, and they don't know what to do. But luckily for them, one day you're visited by a tall, hooded figure, dressed in armor with strange markings on his face. He introduces himself as Lord Revek. He has a lightsaber on his hip, something you've only ever heard of in legends. At first, you think this guy must be some kind of Jedi, but it's clear to your parents that Revek is a Sith Lord. He shows himself in and makes your parents an offer. He tells you about Force sensitivity and says that you have great power within you and that he'll train you to hone your abilities. But it means you'll have to leave your home forever to join the Sith Academy of Korriban. He tells you about the Sith Empire, an ancient power that rivals the Republic and rebels against their rule. You may be on a desert planet, but your parents don't live under a rock. They know all about the Sith Empire. You see, the Jedi and the Sith are at war right now, and although the Republic are the #1 power in the galaxy right now, the Sith are in a very close second place. The recently formed Brotherhood of Darkness currently unites all Sith under one banner, coming together in a holy crusade against the Republic. To sweeten the deal, he throws a fistful of credits on your parents' table, more money than they've ever seen before. If you go with him, your parents will be richer than anyone else on the planet. Your mother accepts the deal. And to be honest, she probably would have done it for free. She has absolutely no idea how to take care of someone like you, and your abilities and that darkness in your eye terrifies her. You don't even get a hug before Revek takes you away on his battle cruiser, and you leave your planet behind forever. When you emerge from hyperspace, you see the rust-red world of Korriban, the ancient homeworld of the Sith species and current capital of the Sith Empire. Here, among tombs dating back millennia, the Sith Empire stands as a monument of dark power. Thousands of acolytes train here, all competing to become apprenticed to the Sith Lord or join the ranks of the Empire's forces. You're not greeted with a boring orientation, but instead with the Awakening, a ritual where you're locked in an ancient tomb with 3 Shyak beasts, winged predators that haunt Korriban's valleys. You manage to kill one with your bare hands, and the second one dies when you instinctively force push it against the wall with so much power that its spine shatters. The third, you simply choke with the Force until it stops breathing, reaching out with that strange power you've always felt but never understood. When the door opens, you're stood there, drenched in blood and guts, shaking uncontrollably, but alive. Your overseer nods, the closest thing to approval you'll receive in years. Fear became anger. Anger became power. Remember this lesson. You're told that the dark side of the Force is the true nature of the universe. After all, passion and emotion are what drive all sentient beings. Unlike the emotionally distant Jedi who shut themselves out from the world, you were taught that power comes from embracing your feelings. You let love, passion, and righteous anger fuel you. The Jedi try to close themselves off to what makes them people, but you are way more in touch with reality. For the next decade, while war continues between the Republic and Sith Empire across the galaxy, you're subjected to a training regime designed not to educate, but to transform. Physical torture builds pain tolerance. Starvation teaches you about resource management. Combat training against superior opponents builds both your skill and your resentment. Sleep deprivation weakens mental barriers between conscious control and raw instinct. But obviously, you're not the only acolyte. There are thousands of trainees at the Academy, children and adults of all ages from across the galaxy with Force sensitivity. By your 16th birthday, your original cohort of 20 is down to 7. Some died during training exercises. Others were killed by fellow students in the regular culling sessions your overseers arrange. One-on-one fights that were first to unconsciousness, then to serious injury, and as you got older and progressed through the Academy, it was death. Soon, you become a fearsome warrior, but your final test is to truly understand the code of the Sith. Peace is a lie. There is only passion. Through passion, I gain strength. Through strength, I gain power. Through power, I gain victory. Through victory, my chains are broken. The Force shall free me. This, you are told, is the fundamental reason why the Sith exists. Unlike the Jedi, who believe in representing themselves and holding order over others, the Sith believes in total freedom by authentically living as yourself. The Sith don't believe in social constraints. You should be able to live your life as you want, without outdated traditions or even the bounds of mortality. The Jedi serve the Republic, which has become corrupt, lording over the galaxy, claiming to be peacekeepers, but being the elite killer operatives of the Republic. You fully believe in the creed of the Sith, that it's the only way to be truly free. You're now 17, and the Sith Wars have been raging for nearly 1,000 years. The Republic and the Brotherhood of Darkness are locked in what feels like eternal conflict. However, there's rumors that the Sith are going to launch a new great offensive, which means your training is sped up. You're going to be on the front line. A veteran Sith infiltrator arrives at the Academy, and you are taught infiltration, manipulation, slicing, and demolitions, all the practical arts of sabotage and assassination. You're not just taught how to fight, but how to destroy the enemy, deploying any trick necessary. Finally, under his guidance, you're deployed on missions against Republic installations. You cut through oppressors, destroy their outposts, and lead covert operations to weaken Republic control wherever you can. Weirdest of all, you realize just how weak everyone else in the galaxy really is. In the Sith Academy, you were fighting against other incredible warriors, but out in the real world, people are like ants to you. You can slice through entire Republic bases with ease. Your lightsaber training has progressed to the point where you can now construct your own. And after a ritual pilgrimage into Korriban's Valley of the Dark Lords to find a crystal, you forge a red blade that becomes an extension of your hatred. During a raid on a Republic outpost on Balmora, you encounter your first Jedi, a Mirialan knight, barely older than yourself. Despite years of training against instructors who tried to mimic Jedi fighting styles, nothing prepares you for the real thing. She moves in such a graceful way that makes your aggressive techniques seem clumsy. Worse, she doesn't seem to hate you. You can see it in her eyes as she deflects your attacks. After an even duel, you manage to drive your lightsaber between her ribs, killing her instantly. As she dies, you feel her consciousness dissolve into the Force. She doesn't do it with anger, but with acceptance. This event shakes you more than any training exercise ever has. You're furious that she wasn't scared or ashamed of being defeated, and in that moment, your hate for the Jedi grows. This is the first of many kills, and you soon make a name for yourself as someone who is uniquely brilliant at harnessing anger and turning it into violence on the battlefield. You're so successful that you catch the attention of Lord Skier Khan, leader of the Brotherhood of Darkness and Dark Lord of the Sith. After a particularly brutal campaign on Ruusan, where you single-handedly eliminated a Jedi enclave, Khan summons you to his command tent on the battlefield. He studies you coldly before offering you full membership in the Brotherhood. This is a really big deal. It's an honor that means you're no longer just a student of darkness, you're now a genuine Sith Lord. Congratulations, you've got a seat at the big boy table. But just because you're a Sith Lord doesn't mean you're done learning. In fact, you're now formally an apprentice of other Sith Lords, such as Lord Bane, a massive figure in the Brotherhood of Darkness alongside Khan. But this is the Old Republic, and one of the unique things about being a Sith Lord at this time is that the Brotherhood forbids the use of the Darth title. Sith are very prone to infighting, with everyone trying to take power for themselves. So to help everyone unite under the one cause, the Brotherhood declares everybody as equal, sharing the same title of Dark Lord. The apprentice-master relationship is also unique in the Sith, Where Jedi Masters nurture and protect their Padawans, Sith Lords view their apprentices as both investments and threats. An older Sith Lord tells you this directly. One day, you will try to kill me. If you succeed, you will have proven yourself worthy of my power. If you fail, you were never worthy of the Dark Lord title to begin with. For the next 5 years, you fight in the ongoing campaign of Ruusan, learning the deeper mysteries of the dark side through hands-on experience on the battlefield. The Brotherhood teaches you Force techniques banned by the Jedi, like how to drain life essence from others, how to create illusions so convincing they can kill, how to corrupt kyber crystals until they bleed into the signature red of Sith lightsabers. You learn how to break the minds of captives and bend them to your will. Ruusan is a planet in the Mid-Rim, very close to key hyperlanes. This makes it a vital crossroad for supply routes and military movement. Both the Jedi-led Army of Light and the Sith Brotherhood of Darkness want control over it to gain an upper hand in the war. And on top of that, Ruusan has a strong natural connection to the Force. It's a Force-rich world, which makes it ideal for Sith rituals, dark side meditation, and experiments. The Sith believe they can tap into its energies to gain an advantage in the war. But most importantly, you learn politics. The internal workings of the Brotherhood of Darkness is as dangerous as any battlefield. Despite Khan's ideology of equality among Sith Lords, everyone is constantly plotting and scheming against each other, forming temporary alliances before making their inevitable betrayals. The Brotherhood's Leadership Council are engaged in a constant, undercover internal war of influence and assassination, even as they fight unified against the Jedi's Army of Light. As the war intensifies, strange rumors begin circling through the Brotherhood. Lord Khan, once rational and strategic, has grown increasingly unstable as the Jedi Army of Light under Lord Hoth continues to gain the advantage. Some whisper he's dabbling in ancient Sith sorcery beyond his understanding. Others say that the constant mental warfare with the Jedi has fractured his mind. The Brotherhood's leadership meets more frequently, often arguing over conflicting strategies. You get caught up in these power struggles and advocate for tactical withdrawal and regrouping, arguing that the Brotherhood should focus on targeted strikes rather than open confrontation with the Army of Light. These views have made you an enemy of the more aggressive Sith who favor Khan's increasingly desperate assaults. One night, while your forces camp on Ruusan's fungus forests, 3 assassins infiltrate your quarters. They're fast, quiet, and skilled Force users trained specifically to kill Sith. You sense the danger through the Force and jolt awake just as they attack. The room erupts into chaos with lightsaber clashes, Force blasts, and ear-piercing screaming. Eventually, you eliminate the assassins, but not before one of them manages to stab you with a vibro blade coated in Sith poison. You survive, but it's close. As you lie there recovering, you look over at the assassin's possessions and realize what you suspected all along. They weren't sent by the Republic. They were sent by other Sith Lords who view you as a threat. The evidence points to Lord Kopex, one of Khan's inner circle, who fears your growing reputation among the Brotherhood's forces. You've lived too long as a Sith to believe in forgiveness. In this life, an assassination attempt is an honor. It means that you truly are someone to be feared, even by Sith Lords. It's time to become the monster they all fear you to be. This is where things get tricky. You have to navigate the Brotherhood's complex politics while trying to establish your own position of power. But that's basically what everyone else is doing anyway. You recruit ambitious students and Sith warriors to your cause, and you forge alliances with other Sith Lords who have grown wary of Khan's leadership. Each night, you commune with the dark side through painful rituals, growing stronger each day, but watching your body slowly deteriorate as the dark side of the Force takes its toll. The war on Ruusan grinds on. One by one, you eliminate those responsible for the assassination attempt. Lord Kopex is found dead in his tent, apparently killed by his own apprentice. A rival commander's forces mysteriously receive faulty intelligence leading to their slaughter. Another Sith Lord falls to your lightsaber after you provoked him into a duel. With each victory, your reputation grows, as does your network of power. Other Sith begin to seek your patronage or offer alliance. alliance. You take multiple apprentices, pitting them against each other to ensure only the strongest survive. Your command post becomes known as a place where ambition is rewarded and failure is punished with creative cruelty. But success comes at a terrible price. Your body continues to degrade, skin taking on a pallid hue, eyes gradually shifting to a sticky yellow, the tissues on your face beginning to degenerate. Worse, you discover that proximity to you has become literally toxic. Your favorite apprentice ages rapidly after months in your presence. A loyal captain develops a wasting disease that baffles medical droids. You become obsessed with ancient Sith alchemical texts that promise immortality, or at least the means to transfer your consciousness to a new body when yours finally fails. During brief respites from the fighting, you explore forgotten temples on Ruusan itself, seeking knowledge that might give you an edge over both the Jedi and your fellow Sith. Now in your mid-20s, the Sith Wars has reached a critical point of no return. The Army of Light is winning, and they've pushed the Brotherhood of Darkness to its last stronghold on Ruusan. It looks like their victory is inevitable, and Lord Khan, your rival, has become absolutely desperate. With the Siths back against the wall, he'll do anything to defeat the Jedi, and that leads him to create a thought bomb. An ancient Sith technique of unimaginable power that could easily destroy all Jedi within its blast radius. Of the few who knew about this technique's existence, most dismiss it as a myth, but you've studied enough ancient texts to know the terrible truth. It's real. A thought bomb is a massive dark side ritual that unleashes a psychic explosion, trapping the souls of all nearby Force users in a swirling vortex of torment forever. It doesn't just kill you. It rips your consciousness out of reality and locks it in a loop of suffering within the Force itself. It can only be created through a group meditation ritual by multiple Sith Lords using the dark side of the Force. It requires intense focus, unity, and collaboration, which is quite rare among Sith, since they usually hate each other. When it's detonated, it annihilates everything in its blast radius, especially Force-sensitive beings. The victims' minds are absorbed into a kind of Force prison, basically a psychic hell. You've been part of the Sith Empire long enough to know that something feels off about this. You can't figure out why Bane and Khan, once bitter rivals, would agree on something like this. In fact, Bane, who sees himself above everyone else, is giving Khan all the information he needs to use the thought bomb. You decide to infiltrate the caverns beneath Ruusan's surface and find a forgotten temple dating back to the ancient Sith Empire. That's where you discover the truth. The thought bomb, if detonated, would not only kill all Jedi in its radius, but it would also kill every other Force user in its radius too, including the Sith. Your stomach drops as you come to realize that all the remaining Sith have now been funneled onto Ruusan while fighting off the Army of Light, meaning that if Khan detonates the thought bomb, the entire Sith will be destroyed, including you. You realize that this must be the true goal of Lord Bane. He wants to destroy the Sith entirely and set out a new vision of what it means to be a follower of the dark side of the Force, with him at the head, free to rebuild the Sith however he likes. Your years of political maneuvering in the Brotherhood have been meaningless. You've been nothing more than a pawn in Bane's grand strategy. Just a disposable piece in his plan to purge the Sith of what he sees as weakness. Above you, you sense Khan gathering the remaining Sith Lords in the caves, their collective hatred feeding into the thought bomb's growing power. In a moment of clarity that cuts through years of Sith indoctrination, you make an unthinkable choice: to warn the Jedi before this catastrophe unfolds. Your quest for personal power takes a backseat, because if this ritual isn't stopped, it'll be the end of both the Jedi and the Sith. You rush to the upper levels of the cave and hear the Jedi closing in. Lord Hoth is sending them down there by the hundreds, hoping to finally finish off the Sith for good. As you turn a corner, a young Jedi uses the Force to pin you against a wall. In another moment of clarity, you lower your lightsaber blade in surrender and toss it at his feet, begging him to listen to you. "They're going to kill us all," you say. His grip loosens and his eyes widen. In all his years fighting in this war, he's never had a Sith talk to him like that. Like a person. You desperately explain the thought bomb as more and more Jedi pile through the caves beside you into battle and into their doom. The young Jedi Knight hesitates for a moment, and going against everything he knows about the Sith, he believes you. His instincts tell him that you're telling the truth. The ritual has already begun. You need to get everyone out of here, you tell him. Jedi and Sith clash while the core members of the Brotherhood kneel in a circle at the center of the battlefield, holding hands and chanting as the Force is channeled into an unstable black sphere right in the middle of them. Traitor! You hear across the valley. A Sith Lord lunges at you in pure rage. You barely have time to ignite your lightsaber again before you're locked into a brutal duel. It's vicious, unrelentless, and he's winning. But just as he gets the upper hand, you see a green lightsaber come through his chest. The Jedi Knight just saves your life. He gives you a hand up, and you sprint toward the center of the caves, pushing through the chaos, but you're too late. The Brotherhood is already deep in the chant, kneeling, eyes rolled back, hands linked. The air is warping around them. Everyone in proximity is already dead. And then, an almighty explosion. One big enough to destroy a planet. Everything stops. No light, no sound, just pressure. A pull, like your soul is being yanked from your body. The thought bomb detonates, unleashing a wave of force energy so powerful that it vaporizes every force-sensitive being in its radius. But it doesn't end there. Your body disintegrates, but your consciousness doesn't. You're trapped in a storm of voices, screaming, whispering, sobbing. The minds of hundreds of Jedi and Sith, all locked in an endless psychic loop. You can feel them. They can feel you. You'll never leave. You'll never die. You'll just exist in pain, confusion, and regret forever. This is what the dark side has brought you. And above ground, Darth Bane survives. He never entered the caves or took part in the ritual because this was his plan all along. With the entire Brotherhood gone, the galaxy now thinks that the Sith are extinct. And as the last remaining member, he crowns himself Darth Bane. With his apprentice, a young girl named Xana, he declares the rule of two. From now on, there will only ever be two Sith, a master and an apprentice. One to embody the power and one to crave it. Something he believed the Brotherhood were too weak to do. 1,000 years from now, this rule of two will lead to the creation of the Empire under Palpatine and Darth Vader. But right now, they hide in the shadows. And for you, you're just another forgotten soul in what will come to be known as the Valley of the Jedi. A testament to everything the Sith got wrong.